My name is Matt Greiner. I play drums for the band August Burns Red. I started playing drums and I knew I liked this heavier, underground, hard to find music. And I met two guys in high school named JB and Brent who played guitar. And we were all beginners at our instruments. We all were very, very much so just starting off. And so we all felt comfortable playing together because I didn't necessarily feel intimidated by JB and he didn't feel intimidated by me, and so on and so forth. So it worked out really well to just say, hey, I like heavy music, you like heavy music. I'm homeschooled. I don't have a whole lot of friends that like the same thing I do. You guys happen to like heavy music too. Let's get together and play. And so I had him over after a few weeks of playing on our friends' gear in their basements. We started playing in my parents' basement. And after a few weeks of that, we moved out to the barn. And once we were in the barn, we had a lot of freedom to put in hours and hours and hours practicing because we didn't have to be concerned about how loud it was, what time of day we were playing. As soon as JB and Brent were off work and I was done with landscaping or farming, we would say, let's get together and play. Any free time that we had, I think, put all of our energy into this band in the beginning. And as things started to progress, we realized that more and more we can make this our career and put all of our time into it. Ultimately, for me, drumming is something that I still love more than ever because I'm challenged by it. I don't feel like I've mastered any part of it. And so I'm the kind of person who likes to work hard for what I achieve. And if I feel like I've mastered something or I've kind of checked it off the list, I'm not that motivated to keep going with it. Drumming is the hardest thing I've ever done. And it continues to be 15 years later. And you never reach the point where you say, I got it all figured out. I'm going out on stage tonight. I can basically yawn my way through the show. No way. I mean, every single night, it's like, all right, 45 minutes. Here we go. I'm going to be hitting as hard as I can. I'm going to be leaving everything I have on that stage because it's the best job in the world and I don't take it for granted. And I'm trying to do the best job I possibly can with two pairs of sticks in my hands, In regards to the title Phantom Anthem, I started to think about the Apostle Paul writing these letters in jail, thinking there's no way that any of this work that I'm doing is going to be of any significance. And here we are 2,000 years later, and they're in the Bible. And I started to think about people I meet at our shows or just anyone you see on the streets. Sure, you can see a little bit about who they are just by looking at them, but the identity of that person, the passion of that person, what makes that person tick is subtle. It's hidden. And thus the word phantom. The anthem is their message or their identity or their passion. Everyone has something that they follow. You meet someone on the street, everyone's on a certain path going somewhere. And you can't always see what's driving them to go there, but I felt like it was important to note that everybody has this song they're singing, this identity that they have, this song that they hear that is driving them to do everything that they do. And Phantom Anthem is that title that encompasses that idea. We don't let the new guys write the song. No, just kidding. We have a very democratic band. So if someone comes up with an idea and it's a good idea, better than the other ideas, it's what sticks. So if if I write a couple sets of lyrics and everybody likes them, then those become lyrics that are on the album. I write all the drums. JB writes all the guitars. We work together constructing the song itself. And then just like a layer cake, the last thing to be added are the vocals. So that would be like the icing on top. That comes last after everything's done. And Brent and myself and Jake are the predominant lyrical contributors to the band. So we take the best lyrics and we say, here we go. And let's attach them, take a set of lyrics and attach it to a song. But typically speaking, the lyrics that we write are based on our personal experiences as people. When we started the band in 2003, we were pretty different people than we are now, 15 years later. I was a pretty different drummer than I am now. You put in a lot of hours practicing drums. You put in a lot of hours living life between then and now. And so our lyrical content is about that. And I really appreciate the fact that our fans care about our lyrics because it's a really important part of our message. Even though you can't understand everything Jake's saying, if you read the lyrics, it's an integral part of our band and why we're out here doing this. I spend up to 6 months before we record writing and practicing the drum parts. And I know that might be kind of, bizarre or seem over the top, but I don't feel comfortable going into the studio. In most cases, I don't feel comfortable going into the studio unless I have all of the drums written. So in other words, there are drummers who write everything and they record what they have written so they can play the whole song through. Or there are drummers who sort of improvise each part. I like to have a constructed structure the whole way through for what I want to have on the song. And so, all those foot patterns took time. But over time, I created it, I memorized it, and I applied it. So that's the 3-step method I use. Creation, I write the part. Memorization, I remember the part or I build it into my muscle memory. And then the application is taking what I've memorized and putting it on the kit. So I'm going to use the ride bell, I'm going to use the hi-hat, I'm going to use tom 1. And so when I get to the studio, my goal is to just kind of sit back and let that muscle memory take over. But the amount of man hours put in just to get those patterns down is scary to think about. But in all reality, all metal records that I've done in the last 10 years since Messengers have been beat detected. So I'm playing these patterns, but they aren't as perfect as you hear them on the record. They're doctored, they're fixed up, they're made perfect on the grid because the standard in metal is so high that you need to compare your drum take that's raw, not beat detected or quantized, to one that is. And when you do that and you compare your raw drum sounds to one that is sampled and has compression on it and all the little tricks to make drums sound awesome on a metal record, it doesn't stand up. And sure, you can get by with certain parts. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but in my experience the last 10 years, I have preferred just going with, okay, producer, I want you to go in there and do whatever you need to do to make this record sound great. And in most cases, the end product is, yeah, those takes were good. You did 3 or 4 takes the whole song. Let's take the best parts of each take, and then we're going to take that good piece we have and make it great by perfecting it with a computer. And what that does is, in some people's minds, they say, oh, well, that's cheating, or oh, you didn't actually play that. But the bottom line is, you just set a standard that's up here, and if you're ever going to play live, have fun, right? Because now the audience or the fan is used to hearing a song this way, and you're going to have to be on that level if you want to impress people and to have your fans enjoy the show the way they're used to hearing the songs. So it's a lot of work, it's a lot of muscle memory, but when you get up on stage, your goal is to just sit back and let the muscle memory take over. I work out every day. If I can't find a gym, like here in Paris, um, I do push-ups. But the stronger I feel, the more fit that I am, in shape that I am, I'm sorry, the better I play. Has been my experience. And I don't know if it's just a mental thing or if it's just me keeping my metabolism higher. Or I just feel like I can hit harder and I can deliver more on stage if I'm in good shape. So if you're watching this and you want to take some drum lessons, you don't have to feel intimidated. I know it might like be a little scary to think, go on Skype and do a 30-minute lesson with Matt, or it just might be weird or this or that. It's really fun, I promise. I do a lot of them. So you go to mattgreinerlessons.com and you can sign up. It's $30 for 30 minutes. On Skype, and all you need is a Skype name, and you can go on the site and you can pick out your little schedule on there. Greiner Kilmer is a drum company I started back in 2011, and we actually just shut it down. So we had a 7-year run. It was really fun. Built some of the most beautiful drums, but it was time to shut the doors, and it came down to the fact that it was not profitable. There's a lot of drum companies out there to compete against. So we did what we did, and we did it well, and I'm proud of it, but it was time to move on. I play DW 5-piece kit. It's a rental kit here because we're in Europe. 10-inch, 12-inch, and 16-inch toms, 14-inch snare, and 20-inch kick drum. Cymbals, I play all Zildjian. A custom crashes, a custom master sound hats. I like the Oriental trash Chinas, the big one on my right and the small one in the middle. And then the Oriental trash splash right next to me. Then I have 2 custom bells that you'll hear tonight during the show as well. I play Remo heads the whole way around, and Vic Firth signature stick as well.